The amount of times that you've said during this interview that you don't really remember is shocking.
Because I don't document this stuff.
I wish I could turn down 50K while having $250,000 in debt. So that more boy can blow bubbles
really
after I knock his teeth
retire.
out.
That's fine, Phil. If I could finish why I'm frustrated and explaining myself.
Continue.
Because, like, look,
Just tell this motherfucker he can be
this
Little
all
Mac
started with
and
me
have his
retiring
passion of
and you
games when he
having,
fights me in
a
the
bad
second match.
opinion on me, and then us having that metaphor of, you being on level one.
So that more boy can blow bubbles
really
after I
did
knock his teeth
retire,
out.
like a year ago. I pretty much did retire. Now
Oh,
I'm
me
doing
unhealthy and
DLC,
shit.
but I'm not paying for the DLC. The DLC's paying me. And I'm doing more and more and more and more stuff in this space because I just love it so much. And it comes from a place of you absolutely loving what you do and loving these video games. You know who else likes video games? Wings and Boogie. You don't think the three of you on a podcast would be a good thing? You guys talking about games, giving your opinions, talking about
this is untrue.
events
This is
and
not
whatnot.
facts right here.
You don't think that's a positive thing?
Team, I just said right here on the show, I would love to do a show with those guys. I'm friendly with them.
I fucking hate video games for the most part.
So when I couldn't get a hold of you and I called you multiple times, it wasn't once and you ignored, it was multiple times. I kept calling, I kept DMing you, and you said, oh, I'm streaming now, and da-da-da. Couple weeks went by.
By the way, that's false what he's saying, but I'll let him keep going. It's fine. Whatever. Believe it as fact,
No. We want to hear your perspective. That's what we're doing here.
Did he not call you multiple times?
He called me at least once, maybe twice, but I think it was just once. It could have been twice.
The amount of times that you've said during this interview that you don't really remember is shocking.
Because I don't document this stuff. Why do I care?
But how can you say with such certainty that it wasn't you, or that he didn't call, or that all these things if constantly? I'm just calling it out. Or, I'm not trying to come at you, but that I've just noticed that a lot. So now
That's
you
fine.
say actually he called maybe twice. Could it have been 3 times? Could it have been 4 times?
It definitely
you
wasn't
didn't even
3 or
notice.
4. It was 1 or 2.
How do I know?
Wasn't 3 or 4.
I'm just
Well,
I specifically
regardless,
I didn't get called at all. I agreed to it as soon as I heard.
Calling me,
Like,
then when I
you'll
went on a
give me
break, I
50K
opened my phone. I'm like,
to do a podcast?
Because I don't have his phone number. I'm
Okay, let's go. You got to convince me, motherfucker.
Why is he calling me when I gave him these specific times to call me? He's calling me when I said I was busy.
but
Why
even
would you
then,
do that?
Phil, you may be busy, but there's a call worth potentially 50 grand plus more on the backside of this that could take 10 minutes. I mean,
Change your life.
And once again, your true fans.
I wish I could turn down 50K while having $250,000 in debt. I don't have that. I ain't turning down 50K.
They're going to stay there watching because they want to know what's happening. They want to know more about this.
I thought EDP was supposed to be like in a hospital or some shit.
Because you're streaming, like your fans will understand that, man.
No, and again, I didn't even know that was him. I didn't have his number. I'm checking after the fact during a break or whatever. But the fact that this guy can't call me when I'm giving him the times to call,
These stuttering Craig and Abby, like,
So first,
Keem,
he
you looking kind of
the true
fucking depressed over there.
interaction here,
What you got? You
I
got
had
something
to
in your
DM
voice.
him.
What's on your
He
tongue,
wouldn't
bud?
contact me. I had to DM him. He would not talk further in the DM about what this was
Like-
I demanded it. I'm like,
Look at this right here. Look at Keemstar's face right now. Look at his face, right? This is a motherfucker that was trying to give the guy to his left $50,000. And he is sitting there with that, knowing that in the back of his mind. I was going to give this man 50K, right? And he's so tired of his shit because, like, this man has sat here 25 minutes explaining why he didn't want to take 50K.
Like, dude, just tell me what you're talking about to see if I'm interested. I don't want to get on a call with you unless you just say, what if he had said something I'm totally not interested in at all? I could say, no, we're not even bothering with it. He wouldn't, I had to, like, pull strings to get him to even say, okay, I want you to be like a host on a show. And then he wouldn't even talk any further. He demanded a phone call. I give him my number. I give him the specific times to call. He calls the wrong times.
Well,
right?
guys, according to what I hear from
He just said Keem called the wrong time. He could not accept his $50,000 call because, I don't know, it was on his 15-minute break between streams, or like maybe his wife cooked dinner and he didn't want his dinner to get cold.
Hold on, I just want to say this real quick. According to what I'm hearing from Keem, he was going to put up $150,000 to do a show with 3 guys. Like, that's a risk. That's him investing a lot of his income to try to help these guys.
Tan
right,
Wings, you and
including
Boogie need to hit
yourself.
the side
And
scrolls to promote
I think
this fight.
a phone call, wanting to do it over a phone call is like just that's nothing in comparison to what he's trying to do. All right, I just needed to say that. Kim.
And Phil, listen.
Do you
now
want to
that
know
we're-
why I don't like the phone call idea? Why I wanted it in writing? Would you like to know?
In just a
Why?
second, Keepstar, go ahead.
Phil, now that we're talking about this and we're communicating for the first time back and forth, all right, I can tell just by how you're reacting and what you're saying back to me that you actually understand that this was a great opportunity. And that's why we needed to be on the phone, is so we could actually communicate. We could hear each other's voice. We could talk this thing out. You can ask me questions. The text conversation, the emails back and forth, all right? That's not like really how business gets done. That's how contracts get done. That's how managers communicate back and forth and do deals. But like when we're at the very beginning of an idea and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with this business, it has to be like real communication back and forth in a phone call, like it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Okay.
why it was so important for me to get on the phone with you.
Okay.
Do you agree or
Graham,
disagree?
thank you for
Does
the
it make sense to
$5,
you, Phil?
man.
What I was
I'm gonna tell you what
say-
Phil needs to do
the
with his
reason I wanted
passion
it
of
in
fucking
writing is
games.
very simple. All right. Again, you have
Hold
to
up.
understand, Keem, you have a lot of stuff that's said about you on the internet. You know that. We've agreed to that.
But
Right?
so do you.
Yeah, I'm so
Correct.
sick of hearing that from
But
you.
what
Phil.
I- it's so frustrating
If
when
I'm
you
going to
say
deal
that.
with this guy, if I'm going to
I'm
deal
with
with
him.
this guy, if I'm going to deal with this guy, I want our conversation in writing. Because what's to stop me from getting on the phone with Keem, having a conversation, and the next thing I know, he completely lies about what we just talked about to get drama on his content.
Phil,
Oh my lord, I don't care about that.
that's like me going to Craig. Like, hell no. I hear all this shit about Phil. I don't want him to come up here and start fucking wanking it on the show live. You know what I mean? That's like me believing what is on.
I thought he was gonna be like, I want it in writing because I won't, before I promote something, like I'm doing the same thing because I've worked with Keemstar before, right? I won't like a legal document stating that, you know, I'm gonna get paid for promotion and things of that nature before I actually promote a product, whatever it might be. But I've done things like, you know, start training. I've done which, you know, my training right now consists mainly of getting my back strong, right? And Boogie's in the same ballpark. And I there's a bunch of stuff I would say I want to talk about, right? But like just today, me and my wife went and spent $250 getting her passport ready. And that's something that's coming out of pocket. You know, you got to buy trunks, boots, glove wraps. You know, I got to start working on getting sponsors. And I'm trying to get the sponsors, and Keemstar's going to be helping me try to get these sponsors. And that's going to put more money in my pocket. And like Phil, I don't know why Phil's afraid of money.
On the internet, when I think this was actually it was a tough, but it was a good show, you know, and it was a chance for you to come clean and like really try to tackle some of the shit that's out there. But it's like you're
It's not for training, man. It's for we have to buy, like we're going to have to buy our own hand wraps and stuff like that.
using the same kind of shit that people have been using against you, but you're using it against Keemstar. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't listen. I don't
Yeah.
trust
You-
the
you
guy.
do
I just
hear it, you
don't.
do see
I don't
it, right?
trust him. I do
But-
not
but-
trust Keem.
But once
I
again,
You don't know me. We've never
Right.
even talked.
How do you not trust the man when you're getting your information from the internet? The internet is not a real place.
I can tell you this. I do business with the biggest content creators on this entire planet. All right. I don't just run a show called Drama Alert. I develop video games. I represent YouTubers. I get them brand deals. One of my companies represents the biggest streamer on the planet. I have a long business history with FaZe, Mr. Beast. Like, you don't know anything about me. You don't, right? But if we had a conversation and you got to learn about me and what I've done and the business opportunities that I've created for this industry for the last 15 years, your opinion of me would be wildly different than you watching a drama documentary about me, something that you're against. Like, you know, this is blood money,
It was
but
not a
that's where
drama
you got your
documentary.
information from.
It talked a lot positively about you. Why do you think I watched a drama video about you? That's not what I watched.
So
at all.
it talked positively about me, but by watching it, you had a negative view of me. That doesn't. It's
No,
not
I told
adding
you.
up.
I respect you immensely, but I don't know after all. It's not just that. There's other things too. Other people that have said things about you and their dealings with you. I have to kind of be protective of myself and my business and my family.
Was there ever?
I
was
feel
there
there's
ever a
risk of being
story?
involved with you. I do. I feel there's a risk that I could be, hung out to dry somehow.
I know that there's multiple things that I've done wrong in my career, like 1,000%. I have said outlandish things in the attempt of making entertainment.
Me too, bud. Me too.
Entertaining people. In 2015, one of the biggest things, my team got a story wrong, and I went on air with the story wrong and falsely accused someone of being a pedo. It was wrong identity. It wasn't even the same guy. All right. If you look at that story and actually look into it, the person that exposed Keemstar for that and brought that to the internet was Keemstar. I exposed myself for getting it wrong. I right away tried to make,
Keemstar
right
did
with that
like
guy, offering
$500 to
20
guys.
grand. This is like back in 2015. If you actually
Which he's
look
dead
into
now,
any
that
of this
guy is.
stuff about me, you're going to see Keemstar saying wild, effed up stuff, and he's definitely wrong. But you're going to see Keemstar making mistakes and trying to make amends for it if you actually take the time to look into it. Now, you're on this show asking these audience, detractors, these gentlemen running this podcast to treat.
Well, I
your
donated
story
$500
about
that night
you
to him
fair,
because he was
I
streaming
should
on
have gotten
Twitch
the same respect
when he got the
from
news.
you. Or
And
at
like
least
he was an old man. He started
respect to get a
crying and
phone
stuff.
call, just so we could better know each other.
Phil,
But that
do you?
that
Go ahead,
didn't
Phil.
happen. And if I could finish, 'cause I'm
Stuttering Craig,
almost
give me
done
my motherfucking money, homie.
representing, my
Shit.
point in all this.
Convince Phil to
called
take
him
that damn
multiple
money.
times. I couldn't get a hold of him. It rubbed me the wrong way right from the beginning when he was trying to send me to an email, which
I
made
need
no
a new
sense
fucking
to me.
kitchen.
And I think 2 weeks roughly went by, and I went on YouTube, and because I was looking up DSP stuff, doing research for the podcast,
I need
the
oxygen tanks.
algorithm sent his live stream in my feed, so I tune into it. And I'm telling you, the minute I tuned in, I saw Phil begging for money to pay rent and utilities, and I just lost it in his chat. I'm like, I cannot believe that you're doing this right now. 2 weeks ago, I was trying to get a hold of you, offering you the greatest opportunity you've ever been offered in your entire career. Phil, if this podcast was a success, all right, everyone in the chat and you are looking at $50,000. It wouldn't be $50,000. This podcast would make millions. It would be a wild success. It would be a brand. This is something that would be clipped on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram. People would talk about this, just like you're being clipped on your little live stream now, except for we would have an opportunity to monetize it.
Phil, do you understand?
He should have added that even if I'm wrong, you've made $50,000.
Kind of the, obviously, I think what Keem is saying, he has this business experience, right? He's offering you an opportunity, you turn the other way, but there's a lot of things that you're saying today. You're talking about, Keem making mistakes, saying things, doing business the wrong way. That can also be said about yourself. And the things that you're saying are very, it's like holding a mirror up to yourself, because I feel like there's actually a lot of similarities between Keemstar making mistakes. You've made mistakes, things that we touched on during this podcast, right? You do understand the similarities between what your argument is for not wanting to work with him and the reason why you have so many detractors.
Sure. What I would say is the difference between me and Keem.
Zapaco, you said he's open-minded, Wings. He doesn't agree to stuff because of money offerings. I understand that there's things that you shouldn't do for money. Like for example, I'm not going to start selling drugs to kids for money. That's just not what I'm going to do. You can offer me millions and millions of dollars. I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself, right? But he's not doing that. He's saying hey, let's get together. Let's sit in a fucking Discord. Let's sit in a Skype call, whatever it might be. Let's talk. Let's get a podcast going. And as a good faith signaling, I'm going to give you each $50,000. I think we have a product that I can sell, I can monetize, I can make all of us a lot of money. That's what he's saying. He's not saying be reprehensible. He's not saying that you got to step on people's backs. He's saying, give me 4 hours of your time, 6 hours of your time once a week.
Outside of wild amount of popularity difference, is that if you take a look at the body of work that I've done in the 15 years I've done it, all right, you would say, has Phil ever really outright with anything he's done actually concretely hurt someone to the point where, like, you know, wow, what a heinous person? People will say that about Keith.
My wife would hurt me if I turned down that kind of shit.
At the end of the day, when I have to make business decisions about who I'm going to associate with and who I'm not going to, that's a factor. And it's a moral factor for me. It has nothing to do with Keem's business sense. Keem, you are a great businessman. Everyone knows that. I think you would actually run the podcast very, very well. I do. I would love to do this podcast with Boogie and Wings. I have a problem with you morally, dude, with the content you put out. I do. And
I'm gonna let him respond. Let him respond to that.
Listen, you just said that you've never hurt anyone, right? And you talking trash doesn't hurt me. That's just an opportunity, right? But when you treated me the way you did behind the scenes, this sounds like bullshit coming from me, but you hurt me. I was offended. I was hurt. Like, why are you treating me like this? Why can't you treat me like a man, and why can't we have a conversation? If you came to the conclusion that, no, I don't want to do this isn't right for me, that's fine. But you really showed me no respect at all. It was so disrespectful how you were treating me, making me email. I have to call at a certain time. I'm calling and you're not answering the phone. And then when people were asking, your fans asking online, why didn't you do this podcast with Keem? During this whole time, I forgot to mention this, he was still talking bad about me publicly.
Keem, you just said it. Like, just what you just described is probably the main reason I have a problem with you. You are someone who has no self-awareness, and you think that you're the most important thing. You tweeted on your Twitter that I should contact you about a business opportunity. No one does that. They contact the person about the business opportunity directly.
We all do it. We all do it.
Yeah,
It's the internet, Phil.
Phil, it's
Like,
the internet, man.
You
Yeah.
said you've been doing this for 15 years, but like, do you not understand the way algorithms work, the way anger is addictive, and how people are hooked on crazy shit? Go ahead.
I want no part of that drama. I
Phil,
don't want to be on
Phil,
a podcast that is going to be about that. I don't want to be involved with someone
That's not what he was. I don't even
this
know
is
what the podcast was
egomaniacal, what
going to
he's
be about.
saying. He's being egomaniacal. I have to just listen
Phil,
to what he
I'm
said.
not.
Keem,
Phil.
you just said my whole life should have stopped because you wanted to contact me. Really?
I did not say
My
that.
whole life. You
No,
just
he
said,
didn't say that.
Answer
I
the
did
call
not
at
say
any
that.
time. Even though I
Phil,
gave
he
you
did
the
not-
times to call me.
Can
Answer
I
the
give
call
you
at
some
any
context?
time.
He did not say that. What he said was, the call I was offering was worth more than what you were doing at the time, and he is right. That day that Keemstar called Phil, what else was he doing that had $50,000 attached to it? You know what I'm saying? It blows my fucking mind, because he took it out of my pocket too. Like Phil's morals took plenty out of my pocket as well.
Oh.
Can I give you some context? From the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, every single day, I talk to at least 20 different content creators. And this is true. This is not an exaggeration. You know, I run an influencer boxing, Happy Punch. We represent fighters that do boxing. I have all my staff. I have YouTubers and content creators that we represent business-wise with brand deals and stuff like that. And then I run Drama, right? So I have to get on the phone with different content creators to validate stories or get people's takes so I can, inject that into the story to make sure
Yeah, I know it's going.
what I'm reporting and what I'm talking about is accurate and have a full perspective, right? How all this business operates, right, between content creator and content creator is like Twitter DMs. It's like a tweet, DM me. Yo, let's hop on a phone call. When we're talking about contracts and stuff, then you have lawyers, you have managers, they're in emails, emailing each other back and forth. But the content creators, which we are both content creators, we are on the same level. I'm not higher than you. You're not higher than me. We have a mutual respect as content creators. We should be able to be in Twitter DMs and then get on a phone call And you didn't treat me like that. You treated me like dirt. This is not about me thinking I'm God. This is about how you treated me in those Twitter DMs.
Keem, I gave you the times to call. You called at different times, and we never had another interaction ever again. How was I disrespectful to you?
So when they asked me, is this opportunity, still available? When I say maybe, because like, I don't know how I could work with you. You are very, very difficult to work with, to even communicate with, firsthand.
Because I didn't drop everything to talk to you, I'm difficult to communicate with.
I have a story, and I'm sorry if you guys don't want to hear the story, but I remember when we first got signed to Machinima, and a guy named Hutch, he's a bigger YouTuber than me, you might have heard of him. Hutch got hired at Machinima, making more money he's ever made before. And the first thing they had Hutch do was process all of the new Machinima entries, right? And Hutch was sitting in a Skype call because back in the day, all the content creators used to like get in a Skype call and like bounce ideas off each other and kind of like cross promote and things like that. The community was a lot smaller, and there was like an in group, right? And Hutch basically said that Darkside Phil didn't want his contract because he didn't want to put the Machinima logo on the videos that he sent, right? Because at the time, Darkside Phil was like filming his TV, like straight on. He's just filming the TV, and he did no editing, right? He would literally pop the card out of his camera, put it in his computer, and upload the video. And when you uploaded it, like Machinima had like these logos and like this intro you had to put on the videos when you edited it, and Phil didn't want to do that. And like they threw a hissy fit. And Hutch was going over this whole thing where Phil threw a hissy fit that he was passing this huge opportunity up because he didn't want to put the Machinima logo on the videos, the watermark and shit. And then we fast forward that I wanted to get Phil on the podcast show, right? And then Phil gave an excuse that he was going to be sick that day. And it was like 3 or 4 days before the podcast show. I'm like, all right, man, cool.
Even though I have
what are you dropping?
publicly listed ways to contact
What?
me.
Please explain to me what you're dropping. Like, what is so important that's happening that you can't get on a phone call with me?
My work, my job. I'm here 6 days a week, full-time streaming to make a living.
But this job that I'm about to offer you would pay wildly more and solve all these problems that you have going on.
First of all, you don't know what it's going to solve. That's a huge assumption. Second of all, I didn't know what the thing was because you never told me. You didn't call at the time you were supposed to.
It was a podcast.
We're going to give you.
We are going in a loop. You're
Yeah.
right.
It's happened a lot on this episode so far.
Right. So look, I think let's leave it here, right? A bridge has been gapped. You know, we brought a bridge together, right? I don't know if something's going to come from this with Keem and Phil, and there's obviously still friction there, and that's fine. But I'm glad you guys had an opportunity to talk, and I think more than anything, Phil, you're learning more about business in 2022, 2023, and how interactions, and the importance of being quick and nimble and things like that along here, because that's in reality that's how business works now. So.
Let me put it this way: if it weren't Keem, because again, I already had a negative association in my head of who Keem is. I had really very little interest in doing any work with him. If it was someone else, maybe I would have. But that's the association I had.
This motherfucker would have PewDiePie hit him up in the DMs like, "Hey man, you want to do a cross promotion?" And he'd be like, "Nah, man, you said the N-word one time on stream."
I have no issue working with the guy, so
That's what Phil's coming off like,
Before
Who are you,
I
Deprez? You
leave, 'cause
played
I'm pretty much
Dark
done.
Souls
I've
3 for
expressed
2,500
everything I
hours?
want.
I appreciate it, Kim.
Can I give you some criticism?
Did I play Dark Souls 3
No.
for 2,500
Is that okay?
hours?
Yeah, because
don't think
I
played
came
it
in
that much.
saying that I'd be respectful and I wouldn't dunk on you or any of that stuff, but I do have some criticism that I desperately want to express to you.
It's
as
up to
long
Phil.
as long as it's respectful and it's not,
I'm going to do this in the most respectful way, and then I'll go. And of course, you can respond. But I don't condone people harassing you, people doxing you, people going into your private life and doing all this horrible stuff that they've done. But I believe the reason why this has happened is because people don't trust you. You don't come across as trustworthy. So when you're on stream and you're asking to pay utilities and rent and all that stuff, the audience is getting frustrated and they look at you like you're a scammer and they want to know where this money is going. Well, how is he always in this situation? What is he spending his money on? And that is the motivation to dive into your personal life. You had an opportunity on this show, and I watched it, to just pull up the screenshot and show the WWE account, and you didn't do it. Your internet cut off. At that point, when your internet cut off and you were DDoSed and you were gone off stream, the opportunity is now gone. It's gone because while your internet was out, you could have made a fake screenshot. All right. You're never, ever going to be able to prove what your WWE account was or is ever again, because people will say he just photoshopped it. He just made it up. You're never going to be able to prove
say that
that
anyway.
You had one opportunity to do it right away with these guys, and that was it. And you didn't take advantage of it, because I personally, watching it, and so did the audience, thought that you were lying. And if you are lying, if it is true and you're not being honest, if I were you, this is the best advice I could give you, right? Is just be like, look, this was my account. This is that. I would ask for a clean slate and I would do things different, because this restarting level 1 over and over and over again is the root of all your problems. If that.
No, fuck all that noise. Here's what you got to do. Get you a bottle of gin from Total Wine. Fire up. Get you a fucking Amazon Connect cable so you can connect your phone to the fucking TV. Screen share your TV. Drink your gin and play your fucking WB champions once a fucking week. That's what you got to do.